Who was it that said that a ship is freedom? It was a bit of a Mickey take, but it's true. It's true. Sea life is freedom. It is freedom from the normal 9 to 5. It's freedom to move in 2 dimensions anywhere you want. You know, you can change your scenery within 6 hours. I can go from watching all the buildings over there to being in the middle of nature over there in Scotland Bay, or out in the ocean doing some deep sea fishing, you know, within another 6 hours. So it's kind of, it's freedom of movement too. You can move from country to country, right? Island to island, and it's adventure as well. There is an adventure in that, and that's why my father and I came here.
Would you say you uprooted your life to...
Definitely. Yeah, and my father as well. In fact, it took us about a year to make the decision, and then we flew. We'd sold everything we had in the UK. We flew out to the British Virgins to look at boats. We actually ended up finding one in the US VIs, I believe. But the fact is, we went out there fully expecting to commit ourselves to being in the Caribbean for a year and living on a sailboat for a year, and there was nothing. We had no property in the UK. I have no bank account now in the UK. I have no kind of I mean, I have family, but you know what I'm saying. There's no material anchor there for me. So definitely, it's uprooted.
At what age was this?
I was in it's got to be my 30s.
What was that?
Early 30s.
What boat that was?
That's this boat.
For real?
Yeah. My father and I found this boat, we bought it, we packed our suitcases in the hotel room, walked down the dock, put our suitcases on the boat, and within a couple of days let the lines go and sailed away. And heave away. Oh, I see. Well, from an investment point of view, well, you can't call it an investment the same as a car is an investment. They're liabilities, aren't they? A car is a liability.
I'd rather spend the money on a boat than a car.
Well, that's right. Well, that's our personal choice. But if they want to look at it purely from a cash return or investment standpoint, it's not. It's not, is it? Because an investment, by definition, has to be secure and show some return on your outlay. There's very few boats that do that, the same as there's very few cars that do that. How many cars do you buy for one price and sell for more if unless it was a fixer-upper, they depreciate, right? Yeah, land doesn't, so that would be considered an investment in property. So their argument when they're saying, oh, well, what are you going to do in the future when it's not worth anything? Well, you know, where are you moving to? If you want to move ashore, well then obviously you're going to be on the bottom of the ladder again, aren't you? The property ladder. But here's another argument. You're going to be paying rent for all that time. If you're saving up for a house eventually, you're going to be paying rent ashore. Well, if you're living on your boat, you're not paying rent. Any expenses that you have on the boat are living expenses for the boat or expenses to improve the boat. That's for your living comfort.
And it is yours.
And I would say it's certainly less expensive than rent. They're very similar, all of the islands are very similar as far as sociability goes. They organise a radio net that usually happens in the mornings where everyone listens in. They nominate a net controller and they give out weather and local information and also social, cultural events like barbecues or get-togethers at a bar or watching maybe a football game. Never been missing land?
Yeah.
That's a funny question, that. You look forward to seeing it, but I can't remember missing land.
So like,
and I've been at sea for a long time.
Any of your Atlantic passages, would you like just there on the ocean, just missing land, like just miss the feeling of being on land?
No.
Stable.
You'd think about it. You think about, oh, it'd be nice to get there, but I can't say that you were yearning for it, because there's also too much going on board the boat usually to keep you busy. There's always something, either that or sleep. You know? But isn't it strange how it doesn't matter what part of the world you're in, you always dream about a part that is in another place. When I was in England, my father and I used to dream about the Caribbean. You know, the blue waters and the beautiful beaches and the sunshine every day, or nearly every day. You are sitting in the Caribbean, you're surrounded by these beautiful things which are within easy access for you. And you're dreaming about some islands that are over in the...
No, I really want to see the Caribbean first.
But I understand, but what I'm saying is, isn't it amazing how you dream about faraway places? It makes you dream about places that you can't normally access, and I think that's what it's about.
Going all right?
It's all good.
Don't
Don't kick the camera. I mean, I'm over in the Caribbean, and I haven't seen all of the Caribbean. And I've spent 20 years here. I mean, things come up, you have to work, you have to earn a living, right? Other things happen. It's not like you've dedicated a full 20 years to exploring every corner that you can. But I don't think you can, whatever project you embark on, because it needs funding. And sooner or later you're going to run out of money and have to earn some to continue. But actually living on a boat, really, you can choose how sociable you want to be, which again is another, for me, it's another plus side, right? Yeah. If I don't want to see anybody, I can go down to Shakashikari or another remote anchorage in another place, and nobody will bother me. No, I won't see anyone. Or if I want more social, I can go and tie up to the dock there right outside the bar, and you don't get much more social than that. I invite my friends over for sausage and egg sandwich. Ah, well, see, you're talking to the wrong guy. Englishmen think you can cross the Atlantic in a rowing boat. So I'm not a good representative. I mean, here's to give you some perspective. A blue water sailing boat in America is 40 feet. That is the kind of benchmark. They don't consider anything smaller than that to be a blue water sailing boat. In England, 26 feet is considered to be a blue water boat. I mean, people talk about and do sail, you know, guys that sail around the world in little 26 footers. Well, I would start off with a caveat immediately that it isn't for everyone, for reasons that I've kind of covered. You're living in an extremely small space. If you could imagine living in 2 tents or something like that, try that in your back garden if you think you might like sailing. And keeping everything that you need for your immediate needs around you. So, you know, things you need to cook and eat and clean and sleep. And so it's a very small. People don't live on a boat because they like to live on a boat. Yes, so you know, people don't adopt this lifestyle because they really want to live in a really tiny space, because nobody wants to do that. Usually, it's as we were talking about just now. They make you dream of places that are somewhere else, somewhere that you really want to see, a kind of an adventure or an idyllic place. So people approach it different ways. They use it. Sometimes they're brought up to sailing, they just love sailing, they want to sail everywhere. Sometimes they want to use it to get to see other places. My father and I fell more into that category than we did in the first. Obviously we love sailing, we've sailed all our lives, but we did have a motivation, a kind of a hankering to go and look at foreign lands, to look at different places, to explore, you know, expand our horizons a bit. So, you know, to kind of get back to the question, people would live on a boat. Really, you put up with those discomforts because you have access to all these other wonderful things. When you go backpacking with a tent, you don't think about living in the tent. You don't go because you want to live in a tent, although it might be a fun part of it. You go backpacking because you want to see that whole thing that's outside the tent and experience it. But you put up with living in the tent, the cold or whatever, the insects, the damp, because it gives you access to those things that you may not otherwise have. Yeah.
What would you say was the thing that anchored you to the Caribbean? Was the job? Was the a woman? Was it the people?
Girls. No, that's not true actually. What anchored me to the Caribbean? Well, you know, apart from the nice warm clear water and perfect sailing conditions, I mean, who can complain about that? Great food. The people are okay too, I suppose. But you know, I had a son here. I got married here and had a son. So really, if you want to talk about what anchors you to a place, it's got to be that one. So my son anchored me to the Caribbean. So there was we looked at the dock, we said, okay, it's all clear, we'll come in. We let go of the mooring buoy, we're coming in and we see a dinghy tied up there to one of the cleats. It's the emergency dock, it's not the dinghy dock, it's not what we're supposed to do. So I thought, oh, I'll just creep in there, we'll just tickle in there and put the line on. Won't disturb him, which is what I did. I probably came in at about 1/4 of a knot. We just crept in. He stepped ashore. And the guy said, are you English? I said, yeah. Yeah, I fucking thought so. I said,
Are you Scottish?
are you Scots? He says, yeah. I said, I fucking thought so.